Hello there! Sorry about disappearing for about a week. I'm going to be leaving an update at the end of this video, so once I'm done with the main topic, you can go ahead and watch that if you feel like it. I wanted to discuss something specific involving spells and witchcraft today because I like to poke around the witchy areas of the internet in my free time, and I was noticing a common issue, which was people who seemed to feel that it was their job to dictate what is and what is not a spell. To be more specific, I was seeing a lot of younger witches posting things like emoji spells. If you haven't heard of that yet, I hadn't either, but essentially it's exactly what it sounds like. They pick an emoji and they build a spell or a ritual around it. There are a few different types of spells involving things like that, social media, technology, and every time I see someone posting something about one of those things, I see somebody else right behind them telling them that it isn't real witchcraft, that they aren't real spells, that spells don't use things like emojis and such. And it begins this whole war where you've got one side saying, no, it's not real, you need to stop it, quit being, a fake and everything. And the other side saying, live and let live, why are you so upset over the fact that they think they can use an emoji in a spell? And as always, I wanted to sit down and really think hard about both sides of this issue before deciding exactly how I feel about it myself. And I can understand both sides of this, to be honest. I can understand the side that's annoyed by it, and I can understand the side that wants to do it. So let's start with the side that's annoyed by it. So a lot of people are upset by the fact that these younger witches are creating things like emoji spells. They're upset because they feel like it's cheapening real witchcraft, that it's kind of making a mockery out of things like sigil magic and traditional spell work and ritual work. They think that it looks like some kind of modern aesthetic that they're just hoping to get attention from, so on and so on, things of that nature. And as someone who has been practicing for a while now, at first, yes, it does come off that way. Most of these posts about this kind of magic come off very happy-go-lucky, over-the-top positive, very stylized, if you will, where yes, there is a definite aesthetic going along with it. And yes, to a certain point, I do have to question just how powerful an emoji can possibly be, since it's essentially just a digital smiley face. But here's where we come to the other side of this issue. I personally believe that magic, rituals, spell work only have power if you allow them to have power, which means I think anything can be a magical item if you let it, and if there's intent behind it. If there's intent, you can do a ritual around this mug. If there's intent behind it, you can do a ritual around my necklace. People have been building their craft around various objects for centuries now, like talismans and sigils and stones. So to a certain point, yes, I understand that traditional witchcraft is important. We need to pay homage to it. We need to respect it. We need to understand its roots. We need to understand where it came from and why we practice today. And we need to honor those who died way back centuries ago because they didn't have the freedom to practice like we do now. They didn't have Tumblr where you can just say, I'm a witch, and the worst you get is some trolls. Like, you didn't get trolls. You got people torturing you, putting you in jail, or killing you. I understand the importance of that, but I really understand the live and let live portion of this argument because, guys, the way I see it, as annoying as you might think an emoji spell looks at surface value, on some level, it's sigil magic. It is. It's a symbol that means something to a certain person that they put into their practice. And if other people are allowed to create their own unique sigils in magic, then why can't this kid over here use an emoji to do theirs? It's not hurting anybody in any way. It's just a way for them to understand it from a modern point of view. And that's the other argument I have for why we should kind of just leave them alone with this. Witchcraft is a belief system. Whether you want to call it a religion or not is inconsequential. It is a belief system, though. It is something you kind of build a lot of your life around. And all belief systems should grow and change with time. The roots should remain the same, but the ways we practice it need to evolve with whatever time period we're currently in. Nobody seems to have an issue when traditional witchcraft became Wicca, which is still a very new concept. It's only from the 1950s, you guys. It's not this ancient way. No one had an issue with that, but we have this big issue now, a few decades later, with people deciding that technology can be used in witchcraft. Why? I don't understand that. It seems kind of silly to me. So if you are someone who finds it easier to practice your craft and practice your spell work and everything by using technology or emojis, that's fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. Please make sure you're ready for some backlash. You're unfortunately going to get it. But guys, if it annoys you that much, just ignore them. Just scroll past that person. Pretend their post isn't there. There's no reason to tear down another witch just because they're not practicing in the same way that you are, because at the end of the day, that makes you no better than the people who persecuted us centuries ago. You can't preach about allowing people to be witches in the modern age and allowing us to have freedom of belief and freedom of religion, but then attack somebody who's practicing that belief system in a different way from yourself. It's just not right. If I find it annoying, I just ignore it and pretend it's not there. Hopefully that kind of helps some of you who aren't sure where you stand on this issue. It's kind of a tricky one, I understand. Just be kind to one another, treat each other how you want to be treated. And I'm planning on doing a video at some point during either this week or the beginning of next week, kind of around how to create a spell. So hopefully, whether you're one of the very modern witches doing things with emojis and stuff, or a more traditional witch, if you are trying to figure out how to create your own spells, hopefully that next video will be helpful to you. Now for the life update. I actually recorded an update on what's been going on with me over the past month or so, especially last week, on my laptop, so the sound and image quality isn't going to be very good, but I don't feel like repeating myself all over again on this camera, so forgive the quality of it, but I hope that it still helps you kind of understand what's going on anyway.
Hey there! This is my first trial run with the camera on my laptop. Not as nice a quality as I get from my camera, but I was initially planning on filming 2 videos for this week that I would be putting up. One involving witchcraft and that kind of stuff, and another one that's more generalized for my channel. But before doing that, I decided I might do a little update video. Update videos are weird to record because you're like, how much information do I need to talk about in this? But I figure I just let you guys know what's going on right now. Any of you who are not on my Instagram account are probably noticing right now that the background has changed a little bit. Yes, it has. Basically, I kind of disappeared for about a week because I have moved. I'm in my new house right now. I'm not completely out of the old house yet, though. Technically, I have to pay those people 1 more month's rent, and beyond that, I'm just moving my stuff. On the 10th and 11th, my parents are coming to help me get the rest of my furniture out of that house and move it here. And after that, I'm completely done and I never have to go back there again, which is so nice. Right now, I'm just kind of going back and forth collecting little, bits and bobs from the different rooms in there. And this house is a huge mess. I don't know if the couch I'm on right now is going to be the permanent setup for my videos from now on. Probably not. I'm planning on filming most of them upstairs in the guest bedroom. The guest bedroom is going to double for me as like a witchcraft paganism type of room where I do spell work and I film those videos and everything. And since it's mine to decorate, I think it would be kind of fun to film in there. But right now, this house is a little bit of a mess. I'm trying my best to put things away as I go, but anyone who's had to move house before knows that's easier said than done. Sorry about the video bouncing a little bit, by the way. It's on my lap right now. There we go. Now it's on a tabletop, so it should be a little bit less bouncy. So, even though I'm moving right now, my initial plan was to just keep on filming as normal. Just some of the videos would be filmed over there and some over here, depending on where I was most on any given day. But that kind of fell apart a little bit, and the reason it did is because any of you who have been here with me for a substantial amount of time now know that I've had some issues with the landlords of the old house. They are not a sole property owner, it's a property management, which means it's a bunch of people who buy a bunch of different properties and then they rent them out. There's nothing wrong with that. What is wrong is that apparently this property management didn't used to be too bad. Like, people didn't generally have any issue with them. They just had a few houses that they would rent out, and that was that. But apparently, the main guy who owned the place decided he wanted to retire, and as a result of that, he just kind of passed it along to whatever random relative felt like taking it. This guy has no idea how to manage properties. He likes to cut corners. He wants to keep as much of the money as he wants. And overall, from what I was told by one of the office workers of this property management, it sounds like all of their tenants are splitting this spring. Like, no one is staying in their houses. She said that she's having a really hard time and she's sorry if she's like coming off kind of short with me lately, but that she's in a bad mood because, in her words, everyone is moving and she is responsible for trying to fill those houses again, and she only has until the end of June to do that. Most of them do not have new tenants yet, so she's kind of freaking out at the minute. That, unfortunately, is causing some problems for us. I was unable to film anything last week because of all the drama with this property management. The landlords at this house, the new house, are just sole landlords. It's a husband and wife duo, and they just do everything themselves. So everything's really easy and really nice, and they're super friendly people who have been really accommodating to us, and we really appreciate all they've done already. So I've been really honest with them about the situation with the old property management. They keep on making these weird threats. They don't have their information correct. They keep on telling potential tenants during walkthroughs of the property that the house is available like a month earlier than it is. And I'm like, no, it's not available in May. It's available at the end of June. So she keeps basically trying to find ways of trying to evict us early so that she can have the property when she promised it to people, because she didn't bother looking in the paperwork for when the lease ends. The lease ends June 26th of this year. She's been telling people they can move in on May 1st, and they can't. Even though Phoenix and I have moved into this house, our belongings are still there. You can't just let somebody come in and live there when our stuff is still there. And our other roommate plans to stay there until the last day when the lease ends. You can't just boot him out because you told people incorrect information. So we're having a lot of drama and stuff with things like that right now. Phoenix and I are fine though. It's just one of those things. This is the unfortunate thing about renting versus owning a house, but in my opinion, renting and owning both have a lot of issues involved in them. They're just different issues. And we would honestly prefer to own a house, but it's going to be a little while before we can afford that because of where we live right now. We live in an area that's pretty expensive, whether you're renting or buying a house. And we can't afford even a down payment right now. And we can't move further out. Like, it's so annoying. An hour away from where I am right now, housing is so cheap, whether you're renting or buying. But we can't live that far away because Phoenix works for a university, and they have told her she's only allowed to live a certain distance from campus before they cut her benefits. She can still work there, but she won't have any benefits anymore, and that's not okay for us. The graphic novel series is doing great. I mean, I'm currently working on volume 3 right now. Volume 2 is already a great success for us. We sold out at our first convention. We have to buy more books now. We've got a small one day coming up soon, I think this weekend. And then we're going to be at Sci-Fi Valley Con in Altoona, Pennsylvania. We're going to be at Motor City Comic Con in Novi, Michigan. And we're going to be at Steel City in August and December. That's what I know of right now. Obviously, we could end up adding some more to it. I'm not sure, but that's where it is right now. And our publisher is really happy that we sold out at our first one of the year. That was fantastic. And then we went into the consignment shop where we sell some of them. And the lady in charge of the consignment shop said that apparently people were walking in asking if she had volume 2 yet. And I was like, I honestly intended to bring you some, but they sold out. And she was like, no, that's like a great problem to have. Don't worry about it. So yeah, people are actually starting to feel this demand for the series, which is amazing. So what my publisher is trying to do is he's trying to book us more conventions. He wants us to try to do at least a few of them every single month and to expand outside of just this state a little bit more. So he wants us to start doing like Ohio cons, Indiana, Illinois, all that stuff. Anything that we're able to drive to, because that's the one bad thing with conventions is that you kind of have no choice. You sort of have to drive to them because airlines and trains and buses, you can't take everything you need for your setup and your merchandise, so you just kind of have to just drive yourself to them. And we would happily drive to any state except for one problem. And that one problem is that, again, where Phoenix currently works, she's only allowed a specific amount of vacation days per year, and once she's used them all, she's not allowed to miss any more days of work without a hospital note. And she doesn't get all of them at the beginning of the year. Like where I used to work, we got this set amount in January, and we knew exactly how many days off we had. She gets certain amount of hours per month that roll over to the next month until December, and then it becomes use it or lose it. Right now, with the conventions we've already booked, she's got like 3 days of vacation left for the entire year, which kind of sucks, but it's also, again, kind of a good problem to have. And what our publisher is doing is he's going to be kind of like the stand-in for her. So like if she can't take a Friday off, for example, he will just be at the table with me in her place, and then she'll just drive up on Friday night after work and meet us there, which is awesome. That's super helpful for us, and it makes it a lot easier. Yeah. That's all I can really think to update you guys on right now. Sorry about the fact that I missed a week. I hated it. It was bothering me so much. My goal, now that I'm in this new space where I feel happy and I have some time to myself, is to try to film at least 2 videos every week and upload them. And there's also going to be a Fire Sphere podcast that's uploaded twice a week soon. I will alert you about when that happens when we're ready for it. But thank you so much for supporting me, and thank you for being so understanding. and I will see you guys with more typical videos from my channel later this week.